right. Sam, can we do a little bit of Google Ad Grant?
Yeah, we can. I also have a small update. So what I just did for right now, I resumed your original Pro Impact sub account. So you'll have access to both your old one and then your new one. So my plan is transfer everything over, do a comparison between the accounts to make sure it's equal, and then I'll have you approve it to make sure that everything's transferred over correctly, and then we can close out the old one. Thanks for your patience on that.
Yeah, sure. So when I switched to the Wix version of the site, I think we got a few destination not working.
Okay.
And I wasn't able to find them before, but now I just did. So that is now that.
Oh, that's weird. That's one that Google made automatically that you probably don't need. I don't even know why that's there, honestly. Do you know what that site is? It's like, it's your website, but then it's email protection. I mean, you can change this out if you want to do a different, you can do a different link for that, perhaps. Like maybe the recommendations one, that page is new. I didn't create any site link extensions for that one. So maybe that would be one. You do speaking in media too, whatever one you want. Yeah, if you go to campaigns on the left side and then go to assets, perfect. And then click on assets again, click site link. And then we should be able to find that one. Email protection. You see that one under, yeah, edit that one. And then we'll just change the topic of it, recommendations. You can also add a description of that page for what it's for.
Do we know if there are any other broken ones?
What you can do, if you go to the left menu again and go to tools and go to troubleshooting and then policy manager, here's where you'll be able to see anything that's not working. Okay, so it looks like some of the ads, I think we're going to the old website, the old Go High Level one.
Let's see, is there some way to change all these at once, or do I just do them one by one?
You have to do it one by one, yeah.
And then I tried making my first ever ads for a brand new blog post that I did. Pretty immediately got an email that everything was disapproved. I didn't know if it was those new ads or something related to just a coincidence and something related to these old links.
Interesting. This one's the Performance Max. Yeah, that makes sense. That one has to be changed. This one, go to, you see asset groups in the top left corner. It's kind of small. Click that. And then click on the pencil under assets in that second column. And then here, yeah, you can change the URL.
Nonprofit Innovation Summit is the name of another thing. Do we know that everything's fixed?
Let's go back to tools, policy manager, and then let's double check. Business name, that's strange. Click on that. Why is that not working? Let's appeal it. Maybe try Pro Impact without the project. That might fix it.
Does it matter that that's not the actual name? And how do I change it?
Hover over the title and then, oh, strange. There should be a way to, mobile do instead. Let's just click on it, the check mark, remove, pause, remove it. And then we'll just add a new business name and then click on the plus sign, the blue one, yeah. And add to account and then just do Pro Impact. Let's just see if it works.
Because I bet it's that page.
Yeah, and the URL
doesn't say Pro Impact Project high enough on here anywhere. In fact, it might not even say Pro Impact Project on here anywhere. Okay, whoop, did I just do it?
So reason why it's not showing up is you see the three bubbles here. Account status reasons contains any disapproved. See the one status reason. Let's delete this one. Just exit out and then click on the X so that way it should show up now.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
So does that mean that the new blog ads that I did are actually working fine?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's eligible and all that.
Okay, great. Greg, where would you like to pick up on the Google Ads and Ad Grant?
Either order if it's helpful. So then Google Ad, I don't know. I mean, the main thing is trying to figure out how to get the spend up. Sam, if you've got any thoughts or updates or...
Let's see. So we could take some time looking over the general trends of the account, which overall are pretty positive. So I tried to do a comparison between the previous month and now. So I think we just started last month. So probably more into mid-October, we'll be able to see actual ramp up and a good trajectory. But so far, what I've noticed is that all the campaigns are improving, which is good, even the ones that I made a while ago. But what's really taking is the blog posts. And I believe it's due to DAF Day. That's been a really big thing here. So over here in this corner, I find this section pretty helpful. It goes into all the verbatim searches that people type in. I try to sort by clicks more so than impressions, because impressions, that's just kind of like a billboard, but it's clicks that actually are helpful to us to understand if they clicked on anything. So lots of DAF Day. We are seeing some leadership words, and the performance is minor, but the fact that, the click-through rates are high will encourage further spending on Google's end.
So I'm trying to figure out, I've been experimenting with a few pop-ups and slide-ins and that kind of stuff. And I don't know which one I'm going to stick with yet. But then once I figure that out, I assume we'll need a new tag manager tag in there. It's not currently picking up emails, but the thing that I have up there right now, I was actually going to change today. We'll just need to wait on that, I think.
Okay. And also, I noticed here, I'm on your Google Tag Manager. I recommend whenever you have a workspace change, even though you added it, it's not actually enabled until you submit. This one should be fine. Register for ED Summit.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a needed attention. Those haven't changed.
So this one, whenever you see the status, it's not always accurate. What Google will do, it'll claim if a tag has not been triggered in more than 7 days, then it'll claim that it's not working any longer, which is most of the time not true. So I just try to do it myself anyway. And usually if you refresh it, it should update. I'm waiting on Google tech support to help out with this. It seems to be a bug, but you can also troubleshoot, and it'll basically do the exact same thing as Google Tag Manager. It'll just be a shortcut, essentially. And so here, if you go back here, Tag Assistant loaded again automatically. And here's your objective, essentially. We're testing for that registration button, and it'll come up here to test for this. So you'll have to go on and do it, ED Summit. And then I come back here. And so it says it works, right? It is sending data. I can finish the session. Conversion action is sending data to Google Ads. We should be good. I can close Tag Assistant. So typically this should automatically update. And again, I don't know what's happening on Google's end where the status won't update. It's still having issues.
Okay. And so then getting the overall spend up, that's essentially just a keyword game, right?
Yeah, a significant part of it is for sure. Also, Performance Max is really, really big. I see that you have a search campaign for blog posts. I recommend doing a Performance Max one for it too.
And I know you've told me before, but can you explain the difference?
Yeah. So in the Google Ad Grant itself, you're allowed to use a Performance Max campaign and a search campaign only. The function of a Performance Max campaign in context of an ad grant is different from how it typically would function. In my Performance Max campaign, I have asset groups, but they are pretty much the same thing as an ad group. It's like the same concept. However, there are way more assets that you can put in a single asset group. What I mean by that is we have our typical final URL, our headlines. We can also put in long headlines and descriptions. Long headlines are not typical in a search campaign. And then we have images, and here you can do a mix of like horizontal, square, vertical. In a typical search campaign, you can only do a square asset, and you can do videos. That's also not allowed in search. However, although all these assets are available for you to put in, if it's a Google Ad Grant account, they will not show videos. And they will not show the long headlines. It won't come up on YouTube or Discover or email or display. It'll only be a search. It is a bit frustrating, but that's the main difference. Now the question is like, well, if they are the exact same thing, if they function in the same way, search and Performance Max, why does Google offer both? I think what makes Performance Max a bit different is that you can do things like signals. Signals are their guidelines for Google's algorithm to follow. They're not as strict as keywords are. So for a search campaign, a keyword that you put in, the ad must show up when a search query is very, very highly related to that keyword, right? For a search theme, Google views it as a recommendation, not as a strict parameter.
Is the reason why that it would have to be a separate campaign for each blog post then, because it mixes and matches? Like somebody could search for a keyword that was related to one blog post, and it would try to feed them a different blog post or something like that?
So that is a common issue with Performance Max, is sometimes because the search themes are not taken as seriously, this ad could show up for things like not at all related to my search themes. But more commonly what I've seen, like for other clients, let's say that this other nonprofit has a partnership with a company. Keywords for that company might trigger this ad to show up because you guys are collaborating, your nonprofit name is involved in their company somehow. They're not going to be totally random, but it's going to be like, oh, this search query is not relevant to this campaign, but it is relevant to my organization as a whole.
So in the blog post campaign, it is totally different keywords for each ad set.
Yeah.
So each blog post has its own ad group.
Yes.
Which has its own keyword. So like DAF Day serves up the DAF blog post.
Right.
But if we were to do a PMAX campaign for the blog, we couldn't do DAF Day because it might serve up a different blog, right? For a PMAX campaign, you only set those themes for the entire campaign, not for specific ad sets within the campaign.
So I know what you're talking about in terms of enabling Google to choose which landing page it takes people to. There is a risk that Google might just take them somewhere else if it deems that that's more relevant to that search query. So here, for all your search campaigns here, I am optimizing with AI Max, which is AI powered search, really. It's just basically giving Google more free range to do what it wants. So I allowed it to customize text, but I am not allowing it to change the final URL. Like the landing page will be aligned with your copy and keywords. I mean, I think it depends. I think honestly for this, because this Performance Max campaign is more of a general awareness, I do think it's worth it to allow final URL expansion. But for the blog, if you make a blog based Performance Max, then I would recommend unchecking this box.
Okay.
And you would just do it through campaign settings, and then you would go down to asset optimization here.
Okay.
But I definitely recommend doing that because I noticed here that the driving force of the ad account right now is DAF Day, which is fine, but that's going to end soon. So we need something else to take its place.
On the keyword side, it seemed like, and tell me if this is incorrect, that essentially that one of the limitations of the Google Ad Grant is if there is a paid real money Google Ad account bidding on the same keyword, the real money always gets first priority or whatnot. And so probably the reason that DAF Day 2025 and DAF Day are working as keywords is that they're in the middle of a Venn diagram of keywords that no one seems to be paying for, but are generating some search. And then essentially like the strategy for any blog post and for all the blogs that I'm doing in general is finding like the middle of that Venn diagram of like search terms that people are not spending real money on, but also are generating some traffic. Any thoughts on, and I've switched to only using broad match.
Yeah.
I was using a mix before, like trying to dig into what is working about DAF Day where that's actually generating spend and traffic, and what learnings can I try to apply to other blogs as I start to roll them out to try to achieve the same thing.
Right. So a couple of things. One, yes, for the ad grant, keep using broad match keywords. The grant, because it's solely search, it's very limited. And yes, like we do often have to compete with actual paid ads accounts. Like that is an issue, especially if they put in a lot more money than we do. It is real money that we are working with. I think the competition gets difficult because paid ad accounts are able to access other Google networks. They can show ads in your Gmail, on YouTube, on the Discovery. That is why they often succeed more and faster. That doesn't mean that we are out of luck. Search is still important, and I think search is still being incorporated into search AI as well. I've heard from a Google ad rep that search ads are going to be made more useful in search AI. So those are the things we have to struggle with.
Cool.
I will say another thing I've been told is whatever search campaign you have, make a Performance Max version of it. The search and Performance Max in the same account are meant to work together side by side. I think mainly because the search campaign has keyword parameters, whereas Performance Max does not. But Performance Max is more flexible and showing it to more people, even though they might not use the keyword that we actually want. There's a tug and pull between them.
Is there any downside if I try to create a Performance Max campaign for a specific blog post just while we're in the testing phase to sort of like try to test that out? Like I've got the campaign for all of the blog posts, which is search. But then if I try to create a one or more campaigns for specific blog posts that are Performance Max, do you see any downside to that?
No, not particularly. I mean, the downside would be just you might have a ton of campaigns to work with. So if you don't mind like a list of it, then that's fine.
I won't do it for every one. I think I'll just pick a couple of the newer ones that I'm about to post and basically just kind of like testing that idea.
And you can do things where like you can pause certain ones and then enable different blogs. You could do things to that extent as well. It seems to be purely a organizational preference of how you want things put together. Yeah.
Okay. That's helpful and all sounds good. All right. Well, thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.